Now, I thought I was not going to make this video, but I just can't keep quiet about this. Yet again, somebody posts one of those lame videos titled "An X number of questions for atheists," thinking that they could come up with something that would stump atheists and would just shut them up. The reason I'm taking this attitude is because I am very aware, Mr. Veritas48, of your track record in trying to seek any sort of understanding on YouTube. Every time I've seen you engaging in what you probably call debate, I have seen you completely ignoring what people are saying, refusing to answer questions, refusing to take comments on board. So rest assured that I am not answering your 5 questions to satisfy you. So let's go to your 5 questions. The first question is utterly bizarre. Not so much in the question itself. You're saying like, how can there be something from nothing? Which is a reasonable enough question, but I have even question marks there. But that you see fit to direct that question at atheists as if atheism would make any difference to the answer to that question. You see, you probably sit there thinking, well, I have an answer to that question, it is God. But no. If you are saying, how could something come from nothing, you are making the a priori assumption that at the very origin there was nothing. No thing. And that includes your God. So even if you were to assume that right at the beginning there was a God, and only then that God were to create everything else, you still have to answer this very same question that you are putting towards us atheists. Where does something come from? And in your case you'd have to answer the question, where did your God come from? Because you made the a priori assumption that it all started with nothing, including no God. Where did your God come from? Answer that question. Else, accept that you are in exactly the same boat as everybody else. However, I have actually addressed that very same question in previous videos I've made. Videos titled Something from Nothing, for example. Not surprisingly. There are 2 ways of looking at this. First of all, let's look at reality, the best we know how reality works right now, and obviously all we can know about that is within our own universe, and even there we find that a state of absolute nothingness is theoretically impossible. The reason for that is something that within our universe is called Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. And if you were to attain a state of absolute nothingness, that would, by definition, be a state of absolute certainty. And that is impossible within our universe. That gives you a hint at where the answer might lie with regard to your question. Maybe your a priori assumption that it all started with nothing is simply wrong, because nothing might simply be nothing other than a logical impossibility. And if that is the case, you have to assume that there has always been something. The other thing is about always. What does that mean? Does that mean an eternity? No, it doesn't mean an eternity, because it is quite possible to wrap up an infinite number of occasions, an infinite number of instances within a finite time frame. So always could, in fact, encompass a finite amount of time. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Your second question, evidence for any sort of theistic ideas. Is there anything that I would consider the best possible evidence that there might be something like a God? No. The third question, atheism as opposed to ultimate meaning. Again, I have to throw the ball back into your court. Why do you introduce such a fuzzy term as ultimate meaning? What are you even trying to allude to there with a term like ultimate meaning? Let's remove that confusing word ultimate from it, just meaning. And suddenly it's not so strange anymore. You know, it is always easy to take a point of view that externalizes itself from your personal experience and then look at your own existence and judge it meaningless. We can all do that. Theists as well as atheists can do that. But the only valid perspective that a human being can take is their own first-person perspective, and from that I find it very hard to understand how anybody could accuse anybody else of leading a meaningless existence. And that includes you leveling that accusation at somebody like me. It's bizarre. It's ridiculous. Have I been raised religiously? Depends on how you look at that. I would say not really, even though I was raised a Catholic and I did go through the motions. But religion didn't really play a very important part in my upbringing. And your final question, what would be the ultimate goal of atheism on YouTube? Now obviously I can't answer that question, because to be perfectly honest with you, that would depend on every individual atheist who contributes here on YouTube. Every individual atheist has their own individual idea of what they're trying to achieve by their videos about atheism. I can of course answer for myself, and for myself it is pretty damn simple. My purpose as an atheist on YouTube is to ensure that people understand that they have to accept that my view on life has to be as valid for me as your view on life would be for you. And until people accept that, I will not shut up about it. People who sit there pontificating about my eternal damnation or whatever, they will get a response from me. Otherwise, I don't give a damn. You know, if you want to believe in a fairy tale creature that somehow created you, go ahead, I don't care. But if you want to believe that I should believe in your fairy tale creature, or else something would happen to me, or something won't happen to me, or whatever, you owe me an explanation. And if you can't owe me an explanation, if you can't provide an explanation, then really and truly, what are you talking about?